I'm Julia Coakley, Chief Operating Officer, and on behalf of the MGAA Association, I'd like to welcome you to our webinar today, which is How Can We Boost Your Revenue in 2024, being delivered by Stubben Edge. Before I introduce our presenter, I'd just like to run through a few housekeeping points as always. Please ensure your microphone and your camera is off. If you'd like to ask a question, please feel free to use the chat button at the bottom of your screen. Time allowing, these will be asked and answered at the end of the event. If we run out of time, questions will be answered post-event, and the presentation is available for CPD points if this is relevant to your ongoing professional development. This briefing is being recorded, and the recording and the slides will be available in the members area of our website post-event. You will also be sent a feedback survey. This will take no longer than 2 minutes to complete and provides us, the MGAA team, with invaluable information on how we're delivering our market briefing programme to you, our members. Finally, during this presentation, there will be some poll questions. I'd like to assure you that all responses will be kept anonymous at all times. So please do participate. It does help, and it does mean that we do enjoy your engagement. So I'd like to introduce you to Andy Waring, Director of Intermediary at Stubben Edge. Andy joined Stubben Edge Group as Director of Intermediary Relations in November 2021. His role is to source, grow and manage the network of insurance and financial intermediaries the group supports and develop these relationships for all to benefit. He has worked in the UK insurance and financial sector for the last 30 years and has successfully developed a number of companies prior to their sale. So Andy, if I might hand over to you.
Yes, thank you very much for that kind introduction. Good afternoon, everybody. I hope you're well, and thank you for taking time out to listen to me today to talk through how we can help boost your revenue in 2024. So as Julie said, I'm Andy Waring. I'm the Director of Intermediary Relations for Stubben Edge Group. We are a city-based financial services business, and today I'd like to go through one of the companies, which is called a Coney Cash Management Platform. We've named it Flight Deck Cash for intermediaries, and how this system can support your MGA with a risk transfer and business deposit account and assist you to earn interest on insurer monies and hopefully something better on your office account too, on your business funds. So this is the agenda and learning outcomes for today. So we've got a little bit of just a digital insight, some commentary from us around what we think is happening in the industry right now digitally. We're going to talk about risk transfer funds. Why should you care? Well, hopefully you do, and we will tell you what the benefits are going to be, and how you can then earn some additional revenue working with a Coney and Stubben Edge. We do have that live poll that Julia mentioned, and just 4 questions there just to see what you're doing right now. We have a Q&A session at the end of the day as well. So hopefully by the end of this session, you will be able to identify the terms that allow interest to be earned on your terms of business agreement or your cover holder agreement, describe what a risk transfer deposit looks like, and summarize how you can open an account, how you can deposit, and how you can withdraw monies through that deposit process. So as we kind of get going, so this is just kind of like some insights into the industry, some highlighted areas I thought were kind of like relevant for MGA space as we kind of move into this kind of like digital kind of digital and tech kind of space into the next kind of 5 or 6 years. So this is just something you can see on the graph here on the right hand side. This is just a chart I found quite interesting, how we've talked about embedding insurance into kind of products in the industry, and this is kind of a chart predicting the growth in that marketplace between now and 2030. I mean, as you can see, we're relatively small right now as far as like turnover, but due to kind of massively expand by 2030. So as we know, kind of over the past decade, consumers have embraced digital search and shopping for insurance products. They want to handle simple transactions such as an address or status change or a request for a contract information digitally because of the anytime and any place convenience. Now, this preference naturally intensified during COVID, and yet many kind of in our industry, yet I think the intermediary industry as a whole, we have not kind of gone to the point of making digital tools and channels, especially the self-service channels, simple enough for consumers to adopt with confidence and stick with them. So just take the kind of like the filling of a simple claim, insurers still ask many time-consuming questions with answers that we know are already in that company profile or in their kind of like application process. So kind of like frustrating for consumers, they have to repeat themselves. And a lot of kind of reports indicate that, there's a large drop off there where customers give up partway through that kind of process and revert back to calling or emailing their agent. And so, there's a large share of consumers that find digital claims tools slow and difficult to use. So why are we worried about this? Well, improving digital self-service has become a pressing issue. Communicating with a human will remain important, but not for simple transactions best handled digitally. Consumers now want to speak with an agent for more complex and sensitive issues. So this kind of creates new opportunities. And as digital channels improve, the role of the insurance agent may change as well. To keep up with kind of evolving customer behavior, more and more insurers have started to link their channels closely. One leading firm has started to shift their distribution approach from a push that focuses on acquisition to a pull that uses more advanced analytics and other digital tools to address customers' needs and priorities at the moments of truth. So the kind of the emerging lead-fed agency model can substantially raise agent productivity and make the job more attractive for younger people. One insurer, for instance, identified claims events with high customer satisfaction and routed those leads automatically to an agency which approached the customer for cross-selling. Just using that method alone led to double-digit conversion rates in 2 separate pilots. So these are kind of some effective ways of working that can change dramatically the time spent on kind of low-value tasks, make them more digital, and build upon relationships that have been primed from data-informed analysis. So to catch up with consumers' priorities and preferences, leading insurers are focusing on improving the digital experience. Self-service channels to thrive and delight customers, they must be simple and convenient and allow the user to complete every stage of the task. Any glitch along the way causes frustration and probably increase the volumes of calls back to the call center. So we know insurers have great customer data to use from many touch points, which they can help kind of personalize products and generate higher quality leads for our intermediaries. The right data signals reveals events where a customer can be approached by an agent based on perceived need. Doing this well requires connected IT, well-maintained data to enable real-time mining across various points of contact with customers. So it's just a little overview of what's happening digitally, and I think some of the areas that we can benefit from as an industry to allow us growth in this marketplace. That's just a little bit of an overview. So kind of let's move on to risk transfer is what we're talking about today. So we know risk transfer is a process whereby premium collected by an agent is deemed to have been collected by the insurer. This money is therefore classified as insurer monies, which is distinct from what's known as client money. And as such, the beneficial interest to any monies collected by an agent under a risk transfer agreement is deemed to be with that agent. So to establish whether or not you can have the correct permissions with your capacity provider, we'll be looking for like certain terms within your terms of business or cover holder agreement. So to identify then whether you have the relevant permissions or not. So you'll be looking for terms like cascading risk transfer, a clause stating that you can commingle insurer monies, or a clause stating somewhere in the terms of business that you can retain for your own use and benefit any interest that shall accrue under the terms of business agreement. And as we're kind of presenting this to you as an MGAA member, one thing we will do at Stubben Edge is review that cover holder agreement or terms of business agreement, and that will kind of like give you advice or give you some indications on whether or not you've got the right permissions, and if not, what you need to do in order to get the right permissions to have a risk transfer deposit account. And of course, you can contact me, and the contact details will be kind of given out after this presentation. So one thing that we recently did was to conduct a survey with intermediaries to see what they were doing right now regarding kind of their own insurer money. And we kind of like got a mixed response back from the kind of broker industry, and 75% of the brokers we surveyed either weren't earning interest or they weren't getting a good rate from their current kind of like deposit account through their existing bank partner. What the poll that we did was to identify, you know, are people earning interest on their risk transfer funds? And of course, you can see on this screen there, you know, 25% said they didn't know they could. Another 25% it seemed to be having too much hassle to do it. Another 25% said they just got a low interest rate. But you know, 25% were actually kind of actively getting decent interest from their risk transfer funds. So hopefully we can get that poll back out to you at some point in the future. If not, by the end of today's presentation. But we'll move on, but that's what we were looking to do. So this is a term that you may not have come across. So we have part within this Stubben Edge group. It's a company called a Coney Hub. A Coney Hub is a cash management platform. And this term's kind of like relatively new to the UK. We are pretty much known more as a deposit aggregator, and in fact the FCA give us this term, deposit aggregator, which kind of gives you a better understanding of exactly, excuse me, what we actually do. So we kind of know a little bit about deposit aggregation, or aggregation is the term, and we've obviously seen that through various different online channels. So we've kind of seen this with the money supermarkets. So what is a cash management platform? Okay, so we're better known as a deposit aggregator. Aggregation we know from the likes of Go Compare and similar brands, where they put insurers or intermediaries together to increase competitiveness on insurance of various insurance products or loans. And what cash management does, or cash aggregation, is very much a similar thing. We work with 20 or more bank partners to then get them to compete against one another to provide you with a better interest rate on your deposits. And we've kind of utilized this facility to be able to then provide intermediaries, MGAs, with then access to a competitive rate of interest through one of our bank partners for risk transfer funds. And I think the majority of us probably haven't come across this term before. So it's a relatively unknown sector. It's only been around about 10 years. About 0.2% of the population use this service right now in the UK. And with reported increase that 1 in 5 of us will be using these type of services by 2030. So cash management platforms brings together the kind of various deposit accounts for many UK regulated banks. So that includes like high street banks, it includes private banks, challenger banks. We also have green banks that we're now talking to. And for these kind of like entities, the cash management platform provides not only a single view of all those deposits in one place, but it also kind of like takes away a lot of the compliance and complexity of having these accounts available to consumers. So for example, at Coney, we undertake all the KYC, all the AML checks that are carried out when you're opening a typical bank account on behalf of our bank partners. The benefit to this is that once you've kind of onboarded to us as a platform provider, you don't then need to go through a series of other checks or applications to get access to the various different banks. So all of our onboarding works have been carried out on their behalf. It makes it much easier for the bank to accept a wider range of deposits as that complexity has been taken away from them. So with that allows us then to kind of increase the kind of like range of products that the banks may sometimes decide not to kind of get involved in. Obviously, risk transfer funds are non-statutory trust, not open to every bank, or not every bank is interested in providing those services. So we're utilizing our kind of like aggregated buying spend then to be able to kind of produce a solution, but then take away the compliance and complexity for the bank itself. So we have a risk transfer deposit account. So this is kind of not to replace maybe your non-statutory trust account right now, but to sit alongside it, where you can then move money from one account to another in order to be able to attract the higher rate of interest. It's what's known as easy access. So that means you can deposit today, you can withdraw today. Sometimes we have like a lag of up to 12 hours, purely because we have to work in a certain fashion with our bank partners where we have certain cut-off periods. So you may deposit this afternoon, for example, but the money won't actually hit your account till the following morning. So sometimes we have a little lag there. So we have the deposit account paying at 3.1% interest. We have business easy access deposit account currently paying at 4.15%. If you have kind of like supplemental cash in your business right now and you're able to put money away for a longer term period, we have a 6 months fixed term deposit at 4.91%. But we have a range of different notice and terms deposit accounts for a wider choice of kind of saving options. In addition to that, we then have a range of deposit accounts for individuals also. So you as a business owner could also take advantage of higher interest rates using this aggregated platform. So this is kind of what our landing page looks like. So you can see there on the title, risktransfer.aconihub.com. That's live, that's open now. You can log in into the platform. So you can see here we have a little video that's available for you to kind of have a quick look. It shows you quite simply how the platform works, what functions are available in that video for you to utilize. But I'll go through some of that with you today. So we have the option to sign up for free. You can log in. We have some FAQs, telephone numbers, and then over here you can see we're advertising a best buy table. So if you're a business customer, we'll then be able to display you clicking on that the top 10 kind of best bank interest rates available now for deposits. And of course we've got a contact us facility. Once you've kind of like gone through the application process, we've kind of done our KYC and AML checks on you as a business. You then are allowed then to kind of come into the platform and start looking at kind of product. As a business, we're very kind of conscious that we identify the level of FSCS protection that's available to you on your deposit. And hopefully everybody knows, but in case you don't, the level of protection that the government provides per financial institution is at 85,000. Now, if you have more than 85,000 available as your business cash, not on risk transfer, as your business cash, what the platform will allow you to do is to have, say, 10 products, each at 85,000, so you can maintain 100% deposit protection. And here in the corner, you can see we've made it quite clear for you that by having 50,000 here, we have the deposit protection of 100%. Obviously, the more you kind of like add into this, it will then tell you what your protection levels are. Unfortunately for insurer monies, they are not covered by FSCS protection. So it's set outside of the kind of regulations for FSCS protection, do insurer monies. So business cash, yes, insurer money, no. Just moving on then. So we have what we call a rate search. And in here, you can see we have like a menu, drop-down menus, and what you can do, you can then say, oh, actually, you know what, I'd like to see what kind of rates are available for me as a person, what rates are available to me as a business. It may be that I want to put the money away for 30 days, 60 days, 90 days. I want instant access. I quite don't mind giving 185 days notice before I kind of get access to the funds. And then we have the kind of like the amount you'd like to deposit. And what this SAH facility will do, will provide you with a list of all the different banks that sit on the platform, what their best rates are for that type of account. And as previously mentioned, once you've onboarded to a Coney, Flight Deck Cash, you don't then need to apply to have 10 different deposit accounts with 10 different banks. It's all taken care of in the platform, nice and easy for you to kind of like keep money in different places for different terms, but then also have that single view of all your deposits in one place. And we do have an open banking facility as well, so you can actually connect other open banking accounts that you may have to the platform, which again will create a more singular view of all your different cash. We're very conscious that, you know, we provide you with accurate information about deposits, who the bank is, and what the interest rate is. Are there any penalties that are available? So these are just kind of examples, so please don't kind of take these as what you're going to get. Be nice to have a 9.5% interest rate. Unfortunately, we're just not there right now. So we then tell you here what the kind of like protection level is. So this bank's AAA rated. It gives you the annual interest rate. It kind of gives you the duration of how long that deposit's going to last for. And of course, if it's kind of easy access or instant access, there is no duration. And it also tells you who the kind of like bank accounts are applicable to. We do have other industries that use this platform who do manage kind of like pension funds and power of attorney type of clients. You can see down here, when is the interest paid? On risk transfer, for example, the account accrues interest on a daily basis and it's paid monthly. We don't often have a minimum balance requirement for ourselves as a business, but some of our bank partners do, depending on the product that they're offering through the platform. Is early withdrawal allowed? Yes. If it's a notice account, obviously you have subject to notice and what that period would be. And then below that, of course, we've kind of got details here, a few Q&As. We have like a deposit guarantee document and the standard banking terms and conditions document, all available for you to download, read at your will. And we also have this kind of note on every deposit that we do, just to say that you're aware of the terms and conditions and the deposit guarantee, which is kind of based here on FSCS, and whether that applies to you. Once you've set up your accounts, you've made some deposits, This is what the dashboard looks like. So you can have an easy view then of your accounts. And you can see here, this is the amount invested. This is what it's going to look like at maturity. This is the interest rate and the kind of like available funds that will be in a month's time. And we can view the details. We can create a little cash illustration if you want to know what that kind of deposit maturity may look like at the end of that period. You can also create a new account. So you'll be able to then add a second account or a third account. So you may have instant access. You may then want to put money away for 30 days and have a notice account or a term account. And you can create multiple accounts, which are all shown in this kind of very nice and very simple dashboard within the kind of platform itself. Once you've kind of created a draft of a deposit, it's very easy then to kind of like make the instruction. So you can then just quite easily open the account once you've made the deposit. In this case, I just kind of instructed this morning and it's being processed. So as we probably mentioned earlier, there is that kind of lag sometimes of the instruction being processed to appear then on the platform. So that's where the system but clearly identifies at what stage that deposit kind of like is going through the system. So what are the kind of some of the real benefits of having this deposit type of platform? Obviously, earning interest is make a big difference to your bottom line now. So you've got the option to add interest to your business cash as well as your risk transfer money. We are a digital platform and therefore we run very kind of like in a digital way. So we do ask for identification. We may ask you to nominate an account where the money is going to come from and go back to. And so we have KYC and AML processes that we need to go through. However, they are quite digital. So you can kind of validate your ID through a QR code system and upload a bank statement into the platform. We have to do some kind of verification checks to make sure it's you or it's your business. And once we've done that, that normally takes about 24 hours. You don't need to keep a minimum amount in the account. It's a question of then the bank partner having kind of like their requirements. Sometimes you may find that if a bank pays a higher level of interest, it may be that they're asking for a minimum deposit level. In some cases, it could be £50,000. So in reality, if you were to deposit £500,000 of insurer money into the account and it was kind of like a rolling balance, so it kind of moved up a little bit, moved down a little bit as you kind of like had insurers' statements to pay, that would typically look like a monthly interest of around about £1,291, which is just over £15,000 a year in interest. Obviously, the more funds that you hold in the deposit accounts, the more you're going to earn. And the good thing again is this is a real big time saver for CFOs. You're not having to chase the kind of like industry to find out who's opened, who's offering the best interest rates. The banking platform itself shows you this very easily. Every time you log in, you'll see the best deposit rates are available, and then you can switch account to account quite easily through the platform. Okay, so hopefully you've had some good learning outcomes from this. We've outlined the terms of business agreements. We've identified the terms in those agreements that allow you to earn interest on the monies or your insurer monies. We've obviously looked at the risk transfer deposit account. It's very much like any other deposit account that you may come across through online banking. Very similar way to that. And again, we've looked at how we can kind of open and deposit funds through that system. And at this stage, I'd like to, there we go, invite Julia to come back and to see if we have any questions from our audience.
Thanks, Andy. I just wanted to add, unfortunately, I couldn't get those poll questions back, so I do apologise. But as I say, we'll see if we can do something post-event to see if we can put those questions to delegates to see if they care to indicate a response, but we'll come back to that. So one I have dropped in the chat box is Lloyds-based BA agreement, LMA 3113A, allows cover holders to retain interest under clause 27.2 of the BA agreement. So all good under these contracts. So I'm guessing it might be something you're already aware of, Andrew, but did you want to comment on that?
Well, there is a, I'm not familiar with that specific term, so I'd like to take that away and have a look at that in a bit more detail. But if their terms of business agreement do state that you can earn interest, but it's also then, are they deeming that money as client money or cascaded risk transfer money? And there is a difference there, and it depends on the agreement that they'll have with you as an MGA. So I think we would just need to just have a look at that to confirm that that is the case, and actually you're not just able to earn interest, but also then you've got the right permissions to be able to kind of like mingle monies together as well.
Thanks, Andy. Okay, so I have another question for you. Would a deposit account of this type replace my existing risk transfer bank account?
So it's not designed, so these are deposit accounts. So we are a deposit aggregator. So these are actual deposit accounts. So it's not designed to kind of replace I suppose, a current account where you'd kind of pay your insurance statements from or to. So this will sit alongside that, and you can easily then move money from that original account to the deposit account where you earn the interest for that period of time, which is obviously on a daily basis. You just move the money back when you need to pay your insurance statements.
Thank you, Andy. I have another question. Any further questions, do drop them into the chat box if you have them. Are you able to indicate how long it would take to process a withdrawal instruction?
Yeah, so as I mentioned in the kind of presentation, we do have a slight lag, and that's because some of our banks tell us when we can kind of make or when we can stop making instructions. So if you were to make a deposit or withdrawal before midday, it would appear in your account the same day in the afternoon. If it was an afternoon instruction, it would be the following morning. So a little bit of a lag, but not too much.
Thank you.
We're working on that as well. So we're looking at faster payments to take away any lag in the future. So that's a bit of tech that we're going to bring in probably in Q2 this year.
Thank you. So I do have another question. When will the interest be paid and how will it be paid?
So the interest accrues daily on the balance of the day. And at the end of the month, we actually do the interest calculation for the banks. So we calculate the interest on your deposit as a balance every day. We work out what that interest should be. We add it up, and then at the end of the month or the beginning of the following month, we make that payment, that interest payment, and that money then comes, we collect that money then from the banks.
Thank you. Just one final question actually at the moment, but again, if anybody would like to add a question to the chat box before we wrap up, I'm sure Andy would be delighted to look to answer it. So the risk transfer fund product, will this only accept sterling or will it accept other currencies?
So at the moment, we're just working on a sterling basis. So, and we are then looking at euros and dollars to sit alongside this in the near future.
Excellent. Thank you very much. Well, I don't have any questions, so I think that remains to say, Andy, thank you so much for taking the time today to talk to our members. A good delegate turnout. As always, MGA events are very well supported, but thank you again to Andy and Stubben Edge, as I say, for taking the time to talk to members. For our delegates today, thank you so much for joining us. The slide deck will be sent out post-event. A link to capture your feedback will also be sent out, and if you could take a couple of minutes to complete that, this does feed into the team to inform future market briefings and our insights meetings. The recording of this will be uploaded onto our MGA website and YouTube channel by the end of next week. So do look out for that if you have any colleagues that have an interest. We'd also have two further MGA events that might be of interest. So we have our MGAA Next Gen Speed Mentoring event on Thursday, the 1st of February in London, which is sponsored by our gold sponsors AXA. So do please send your rising professionals to support that. And then, of course, our MGA Broker Exchange, again in London on the 5th of March, for our MGA members to exhibit their products and services to the broking community. So 2 events for your calendar if of interest. But once again, thank you to Andrew, Andy for joining us today. Thank you to delegates. And I wish you a very pleasant and productive afternoon. And did you just want to follow on with the final slide with the FAQs?
Yeah, so this is just some common risk transfer questions. And then I think we've covered some of these. People have already asked some of these questions already before we finished. But it's one thing that is kind of like prominent on this slide is just that the product provider in this case is a fixed rating of a long-term credit rating of an A+. So it's a high street bank that's doing the risk transfer fund account. And I think that will give people a lot of security that it's not a kind of challenger bank that's doing this.
Perfect. Thank you, Andy, and thank you to our MGA delegates.
Thanks, everybody. Bye.